Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joined today from the Fitchburg Fire Department, my friend Mark Malekish. Welcome back, sir. How are you doing?
Thank you, sir. I'm good. It's
good.
been a while since I've seen you and we've talked.
It has been a while. Yeah, we are here today to talk about severe weather and safety tips. One of my favorite areas among many areas of topics I like to talk about. But severe weather, interesting enough, given the climate that we're in, we are getting tornadoes when times we weren't supposed to be getting tornadoes. We break the record this year for a tornado in February. And you're like, we didn't even get through Severe Weather Awareness Week yet. What do you say, Mark?
Yeah, so global warming, it's a thing, right? We're all adjusting to it, and our storms and our weather events are getting more and more severe. I heard different forecasts for this coming Friday, right? Some say 1 to 2, some say 2 to 4. Apparently, Jim Cantori says it's going to be a blizzard. So who knows?
Wow, you really went down a rabbit hole there.
Sorry.
But you are right. The weather is hard to forecast, but certainly the extremes has been what's been really concerning. So I think building up a severe weather safety, kind of getting yourself wrapped around that all year long for all hazards is not the easiest thing to think about, but we got to get you there.
We do. It used to be in the spring you worried about severe thunderstorms and tornadoes, and that's the only time of the year that you had to do it. We've proven this year with a tornado in February that the old standard is changed. It's a brave new world out there, and we kind of need to be prepared all the time.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's dive into this and start at home, where it used to be like, hey, we practice this at school, we practice this at work, but we never really practice at home. But that's probably where you're going to be, maybe. When something happens. But when you're at home, what are some things you should think about when building a severe weather plan?
Yeah, so I'm just going to go right at the throat of this. The first thing that you should not do is when you hear those tornado sirens, don't go out to the mailbox and look at the sky.
But everybody films it.
Right. Of course, you can't get it on YouTube if you don't film it. I understand completely. That said, the tornado sirens and the weather alerts that you get on your phone or via weather radio, take heed, pay attention to those. And the first thing that you should do is gather everybody into an interior room in the house, someplace that does not have exterior windows. Because the real danger in this is going to be flying debris.
It really is. And so a couple of factors to keep in mind is get in, get down, cover up.
That's right. That's right. So if you have a basement, and you're able to get down into a basement, I'll use my home as an example. I live in a raised ranch, and I have a laundry room that has no exterior walls. That is the perfect room, right? It's downstairs. You've got the foundation to protect you a little bit, and you've got no windows. If you don't have that, an interior bathroom usually doesn't have windows, and if it does, it's a very small window. So if you can get into that interior room, closets can work as well. Pantries, if they're walk-in. Little rooms like that make great places to go when that severe weather hits.
Yeah, so if you can get off the main level, get into a basement or lower level of your house, away from windows, interior, whatever the case is, just trying to basically put as much distance between the outside world to you. And then as far as covering up, I've heard this from the Weather Channel now, they're getting more into like, do you have helmets in your safe place? Do you have, serious, covering up is becoming more like, suit up and cover up.
Yeah. So the idea again is to protect yourself. If you have means for that, that's great, right? Having that severe weather kit. If not everybody has the same financial means to go out and buy helmets for severe storms. So in that case, use what's available. Use what you have, but going to that interior room is really the first thing to do.
If you're stuck in a mobile home, what do you do?
Mobile homes, if there's any kind of a hard structure that you can evacuate to. So in my mind, preparedness is the key with all of this. So if you have weather alerts, if you're able to, almost everybody has a smartphone right now. Pay attention to the weather. Put a weather app on your phone, they're free. And they can alert you to what's coming. Then you're able to prepare more. Mobile homes, trailers, campers, tents, they can all be very dangerous, especially if there's any kind of wind associated with the storm. So not being in those structures is the best possible scenario.
Absolutely. I like the preparedness piece that you said, because that's really the key here. We're talking more on the reactive side right now, or getting in there, but you should really prepare yourself ahead of the storm, even before there's storms even coming. I mean, that should be like step 2. Like your step 1 what is the plan, right?
Right. So in my mind, the plan, going back to step 1, should be to be weather aware. Understand what is possible for the day and understand what you're going to do if that possibility comes true, right? If you can prepare, you've done 90% of getting ready for that severe weather event. If you know what's coming towards you, you're halfway there at least. So that means you're not trying to scramble in the moment to figure out how to protect yourself. You've already taken steps, right? And it doesn't cost a dime to do that. Like I said, if you have a smartphone, if you have a weather radio, that information's already coming at you.
I like the old classic one, practice makes perfect, right?
Yep. Right, so I'll use the Packers analogy, right?
Yes.
The Green Bay Packers aren't good because they just assembled the team and went out on the field, right? They practice every play, and they play the way they practice, right? It's an old fire department axiom too. Run through it, especially if you have kids. Make sure they know what to do, because they'll sometimes warn you, right? They're paying attention, trust me. And if they know what to do, they might say, hey, Mom, Dad, Grandma, whoever, we should do something because there's bad weather coming, right? And the kids do an awesome job of that. So,
well, it's cool because they practice at school, right? And we have now the National Weather Service in Wisconsin. We have our statewide tornado drill each year, and we've added not only the school part, which has always been happening during the day, but have added the night practice time frame too, to put that plan into action when you're at home.
Yep.
So you get both perspectives, so to speak. And again, practice makes perfect.
well, just to jump off on another rabbit trail here, I find that with fire prevention as well. The kids come home, they've learned things, they know how to evacuate during a smoke alarm or a fire alarm activation. That transfers to their home life. Same applies for severe weather. They know what to do in a tornado drill. They're probably going to guide their parents because their parents are my age and already think they know everything.
You're like, is it coming yet?
It's true.
All right. Well, 2 other places, which and I'm going to tell you a story quick, but if you're caught outside of, so you're out in public, so let's just say you're traveling somewhere and it's not your normal place, and this could be you're stuck at a hotel, you're stuck at a theme park, you're just not where you're normally at. What would you recommend in that scenario? A couple different places to go there.
Yeah. So let's start with being outside. I'd like to think of myself as an outdoorsman. The last thing you want is to be the tallest thing out there when there's lightning around, right? You want to head for cover. A building, some sort of a structure, get inside of a car if you need to. That way you've got some structure around you and you're protecting you. Hiding under trees is generally a bad idea because the tree's much taller than you are and it can act as a lightning rod. Again, I'm going to go back to preparedness. We all have a cell phone on us. We all have that weather, awareness. So know what's coming your way. If you're in the Dells at the Kalahari, just to pick a place, and you know that severe weather is coming, call down to the front desk and see what areas they have inside the building that you can go to if things get really hairy out there. Pre-plan it. Think about it. Right? I know it sounds like we would wander through the world being paranoid of everything and pre-planning every possible emergency, but when you find out that weather is a potential, just a few seconds of thought and a couple of questions or looking around makes all the world difference.
Yeah, the example I was going to use, I was traveling at a hotel, fire alarm went off in 2 a.m. Never has happened. Traveled many times for business,
Sure.
whatever. I'm shocked. I was like, this isn't real. this isn't real. Turns out somebody, the sprinkler system had gone off, but it actually turned out to be somebody fell asleep and left their bathtub on, and it flooded 3 floors. Interesting enough, though, seeing the fire department show up. Do you ever look at that placard when you show up and see it? And that actually has some of them have severe weather. I've taken note to this now because of this very incident. We've taken notice of, hey, this is where the severe weather shelter is. This is where you go for a fire. Have you looked at those things when you go out? That is making yourself aware.
Generally speaking, it's in a plastic holder right on the back of the door. When you get out into the hallways, you should be able to find some sort of a map that directs you to the exits, right?
All right.
So start making your way.
Fantastic. Well, if people want to learn more, Mark, about severe weather, there's certainly plenty of resources out there. One I would point people to is readywisconsin.wi.gov. It's a great resource, has the planner. Build a Safety Kit has the different extreme weather conditions and looking at that. But overall, I think what I've heard is you got to arm yourself with some tools and some ideas on practice and being prepared for these things.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a ton of resources out there on the internet. Literally, if you go and do a Google search and say severe weather preparedness, you'll come up with more information than you can read.
All right,
it's out
Mark.
there.
Well, thank you so much. You can watch the Facebook page of the fire department. They'll share some safety tips here and there and every once in a while, and on their website as well, fitchfordwi.gov. Click on the fire department page for more. Mark, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it.